Hey, good morning, guys. Hope you're doing really well. Today is Tuesday, the 28th of May. Bitcoin is, what was it, 67 and a half roughly, so it's taken a bit of a dip. It was doing quite well over the weekend, wasn't it? Yeah, I got my $1 sats, which I'll fill you in at the end. If you're new to the show, give us a like, give us a subscribe. And just to share with you, the $1 a day challenge is all about trying to encourage you guys to dollar cost average, dip your toe into Bitcoin, and it's easily accessible. Most people can do $1 a day, and it's just going to be a way to stack sats. So I'll share with you how many sats I got at the end of the video, and I'll also put it in the comment section. Now a quick one, in this windy and blistery English summer that we're experiencing, I'm down by the beach, just dropped my son off for his shift that he's doing down here, but it's yeah, it's very windy and very blustery, and it looks as though we're in the middle of winter, so it's not too great here. So unfortunately, yeah, it's I was thinking of maybe going for a walk and sort of showing you the beaches and things like that, but still in the car, unfortunately. So today I just want to touch on something I mentioned recently, which was talking about how Bitcoin just eats every other asset class, and this is so important for you guys to, you know, if you're new to Bitcoin, if you're thinking about getting into crypto, or you're on the fence of whether do you buy another investment property or do you or not, or you know, or whether you diversify in the future, take some chips off the table and invest in property and things like this. These are the sort of things that go through my mind. But what's really interesting, I'm going to put the link in the description below. There's a website called what was it, forgotten it now, Bitcoin 21 or something like that. I'll put the description below, and it prices everything, or sorry, it tracks everything in terms of Bitcoin versus stocks and shares, precious metals, oil, property, all those types of things. And what you can see is how the value of everything diminishes over time versus Bitcoin. And the big one I want to sort of talk about is the average UK house price, how that is massively is devalued versus Bitcoin over time in the last year. Now, to be fair, I don't know exactly when these data points are taken. So, you know, if you really want to dig into the weeds and check and, you know, do your own research effectively, is just go on, you know, if you Google average house prices in the UK, there's official government data sources that you can see. And again, every region and every area is going to be slightly different. Of course, I get that, but it gives a trend. I think that's the key point. You can see the direction of travel. But yeah, you can do your own research, see what data point you want to take, and maybe take the price of Bitcoin and compare it over time. But what's interesting, in the last year, house prices, the UK average house price has lost 77% of its value against Bitcoin. That's in 1 year. That's not to say, to be clear, guys, this is not to say that the house price hasn't increased. We're still seeing, you know, even in the UK, where, you know, we've had high interest rates, there's a lack of buyers coming into the market, properties aren't selling, we are still not seeing that correction, really. There probably is a slight correction, but there is still a huge pent-up demand. I think, you know, when we look into the property market specifically, a lot of the properties that aren't selling are probably a lot of the holiday lets, second homes, buy-to-lets, a lot of tax changes. I won't go into that right now. A lot of holiday lets aren't, you know, able to let anymore because the demand's dropped off. So those people with second homes are going, you know, it's not worth it anymore. So they're sort of offloading the stock. So there's a lot more of those higher end properties that are coming onto the market which were rented out. But what we'll see, without a doubt, and this is where I think I was wrong back in 2009, because I thought back in 2009, 2008 was a big financial crash. I don't know if you guys remember, some of you might be too young, but there was a massive financial crash. Really, this was the emergence of Bitcoin, and this is really where this whole story begins. And the banks were bailed out. People were over leveraged with mortgage debt, etc., etc. And I honestly thought, I was in the mortgage game back then, and I honestly thought that property prices would drop, I don't know, 40%. I honestly thought they would. And I was expecting between 2008 and 2012, this was my sort of personal prediction, was back then, I thought our property prices would drop sort of 40, maybe 50%. And it never happened. And it really surprised me, despite all the chaos and all the financial difficulties and all the rest of it, it never materialized. So it really surprised me how robust the UK property market is. I think when you look back at the data, I'll have to double check, I think it dropped by about 15%. And property is always a lagging indicator, always is slower to economic impact takes a while to filter through to the property market. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't happen instantly. People take a while to realise property prices. Property will stay on the market for 6 months before somebody goes, yeah, I'll drop it, and then maybe it still doesn't sell. It takes another 6 months, they'll drop it again. So property prices is probably lagging behind the actual economic reality. And I was always stunned that property prices never dropped, and then of course they bounced right back, and there was property prices have gone crazy, again for the last X number of years. And I suspect that's exactly what's going to happen again. But despite property prices will be increasing, even when property prices increase, performing against Bitcoin, they are still going to be losing exponentially in terms of, the value of a Bitcoin versus the value of a house. So even when house prices are going up, Bitcoin is still massively outperforming and just eating every other asset class, including property. So property in the last year in the UK has lost 77% of its value versus Bitcoin. 77%. Can you get your head around that? That's just nuts. I don't know how clear I can say this. In the last 5 years, guys, so I know 1 year you could say, oh, well, that was a anomaly year, whatever. But in the last 5 years, it hasn't got better, it's got worse. And this is the point. Bitcoin just eats and eats and eats and eats every other asset class and has a bigger chunk each time. Over 5 years, it's lost 93% versus Bitcoin. Let me just say that again so it actually goes into your head. Property, the average UK property over the last 5 years has lost 93% versus Bitcoin. And if you think about it, the last 5 years, that goes back to 2019. That time frame is including that massive, crazy house market that we experienced post-COVID, when everyone was just like going, oh my God, and everyone was sort of buying, but moving out of the cities and buying. And house prices went crazy in the UK. For those of you who are not in the UK, obviously you won't be aware of it, but the house prices went crazy. So even despite house prices going up, hugely, versus Bitcoin, they still lost 93%. So even though this is the thing. If you're stuck in the fiat world, if your mindset is stuck in the world of, if you haven't opened your eyes to the matrix, shall we say, if you're just stuck in the fiat world, the mainstream world, you think, oh yeah, house prices have been going up, that's good. But if you open your eyes to the Bitcoin world, they are still losing massively. Not even a little bit, not even 5%, 10%, which are they're the sort of figures that we're used to hearing. But 93%, is like, it's mental, absolutely mental. And what we'll find over the course of the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, every asset class is just getting eaten by Bitcoin. So if you're not in Bitcoin, you're going to be massively left behind, I think it's also really interesting how actually this is giving young people a huge opportunity. Those young people, maybe like yourself, who have struggled or are struggling or can't get onto the property ladder to buy your own home. This is your escape valve. This is the opportunity to break out of the system that you're stuck in. This is why so many people are so frustrated and angry. They don't realize why. It's because the money's broken. It's because their lack of opportunities. They can't see a future. This is it, guys. Bitcoin is your opportunity of a lifetime. And even a small little bit investing in Bitcoin, even a small amount, will make a huge difference. Your future self is going to thank you. So follow me on my $1 a day challenge. I do it specifically because it's achievable for most people. I do it because it's at such a ridiculously low level that most people can do it. So why not just do it? I'm not picking, £5 a day, £10 a day, £20 a day, £50 a day, £100 a day, whatever the figure is. I'm doing it at the lowest level I possibly can to demonstrate how it will impact you and your future. And we'll look back in 10 years and go, wow. And most of you will go, why didn't I do that? I saw the video, but I never did it. Or some of you will go, oh, I wish I'd seen the video. No one talked about it. No one shared it with me. So that's why I'm doing it. And I'm doing it trying to help people. But you can, as the saying goes, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. So, you have to take that action. You have to do it yourself. But just be aware that you go on that website, priced Bitcoin 21 or something like that. I'll put the description, the link in the notes, because it's really important. And again, don't take my word for it. Have a look for yourself. But you comparing against every asset class, it's losing a huge amount of value. So it's mind-blowing. It properly is. But you've got to just rewire your brain and think about things in Bitcoin terms. And even to the extent of, we're coming up to this bull run. I know things are sort of just getting flat at the moment. Nothing's happening. Bitcoin's at, 67.5 roughly. It was over 70 at the weekend. It's just in a range. And we're going to be building up probably, I don't know, maybe until November. Not a lot's going to be happening. Maybe a bit before September. But this is the time to be accumulating as many sats as you possibly can. But listen, guys, I'm actually going to leave it there because I've got a phone call coming through. So I'm lovely to leave you. Drop some of your thoughts in the comments and I'll catch up with you soon. Take care.